Hi, I'm Heather Dawson. It's a pleasure bringing you the best of California each week on our show. And this week, we're going green. So let's start off with a tour of headlines that made news around the state. In Fresno, going green is easier now that the city's solid waste division is partnering up with a local radio station to help give away free airtime to businesses who start a new recycling program. A bad deal. Sacramento, donating just $25 can reduce your carbon footprint. Log on to carboncounting.org to see how you can help. And lastly, engineering students from UC Riverside will compete in Washington for $75,000 grants to help launch environmental projects that use technology to tackle global change. Sadly, you can still find litter along our streets, beaches, and even in our yards. But as Brent Weber tells us, there's an amazing effort being made to keep California beautiful, and it starts with our kids.
Today's teenagers are missing the message when it comes to keeping America beautiful.
Children have somehow obtained the idea that someone is always going to be there to pick up after them. It's probably, I'm a parent, I'm a mother, and I've probably been a little guilty of that with my own children, but my children do not litter. But it is a phenomena that I think it seems to be getting worse.
So Marlene and the folks at Keep California Beautiful have enlisted some heavy hitters. Former World Surfing champion Sonny Garcia and skateboarding legend Tony Hawk to get the kids' attention.
It's amazing how wonderful it is because our target audience is males between the ages of 12 and 24 who are seen as our worst litterers.
The numbers are staggering when it comes to cigarette butts alone. 3 trillion butts were tossed around the world last year. More than 220,000 of them picked up in one day alone in California. The impact of litter has long-term effects and costs those kids, future taxpayers, dearly in many ways.
We sponsor over 900 cleanup events by volunteers all over the state and have picked up, I don't know, millions of pounds or tons of trash, with our program.
Just think before you flink that butt.
Well, if you're old enough to remember 8 tracks, cassette tapes, or an old vinyl record, you'll understand how much the music industry has changed over the last several decades. In this week's business segment, Jennifer Quinones profiles one man's experience in the music industry and tells us it's his passion for music, his instinct to take chances, and good old-fashioned hard work that's made him a standout above the rest.
Technology in the last decade has forever changed the music industry. Now, more than ever, people have access to music that before was mainly controlled by large record companies. For smaller independent record labels and their lesser-known artists, it has become a dream come true.
Well, I couldn't have started my own company had it not been for the internet. It really allowed us to compete with the major labels and people with a lot more money. Now it's become a challenge because the economic system with MP3s and people downloading illegally, it's turned out to be as much of a challenge as it is a benefit.
Andy Factor is the founder and co-president of Ever Loving, an independent record label and management company. Before he started his own company in 2000, he was vice president of A&R at Virgin Records, developing and working with such artists as Ben Harper, Smashing Pumpkins, and Paula Abdul.
My first real exciting job was talent scout at Virgin Records in America. They were an English label that had just moved out here, and I had gotten a job in the mailroom and worked my way up into the creative department. I ended up working there for almost 13 years. Eventually, I hit the ceiling, more or less, for my growth there, so I went out and started my own company.
Listening to his gut instinct, Factor believed in one singer that had been passed over by big labels such as Virgin. That artist, Jack Johnson.
You gon' make it up next time. I know she knows it's not right.
After leaving Virgin in 1999, Factor and his new company financed Johnson's first album, Brushfire Fairy Tales.
We have always made music because we love it, and we think that what we hear are things that other people will enjoy. Doing it for myself, we get to see the result of our endeavors. Whether that succeeds or not is left to our own efforts and talent, and now we know where we stand given a day's work.
Now celebrating 10 years as an independent label, the company represents and manages many artists such as Inara George, Don Cavalli, the Entrance Band, and the Growlers.
When it's your time, you know you'll never know. When you'll never return your suppers.
With the Growlers, we have 7 young people who live together in a warehouse that tour in a converted biodiesel school bus and sleep on the bus. And economically, we couldn't afford to grow their careers if they weren't so able to rough it.
But it's not just the artist that needs to be willing to go the extra mile. Factor and his team follow that attitude as well. A commitment to hard work to maintain and promote the integrity of the music they believe in most is the goal. That seems to be the winning business plan Factor has stood by faithfully to successfully continue his business in the 21st century.
Being an entrepreneur is freeing and it allows you creative control, but it certainly requires you to be an accountant and a lawyer and a good executive people person. It requires you to invest in yourself and reinvest in yourself, or save vacations to grow your business, and that's a choice you make every day. It's definitely worth it. I've never had a better time, and I really appreciate everything I've learned, and I've built a successful career, fortunately. But it's not gotten easier, it's gotten harder. The music makes me love it, and the people I work with. I get to spend my days with such talented people who sing and play at a world-class level. I've never stopped appreciating that and being moved by it.
For California Life, this is Jennifer Quinones.
We're here in the heart of the Central Valley at Fiscalini Farms, home of the world's best cheddar.
The life of a dairy farmer is not just milking cows.
John Fiscalini's the dairy farmer making his mark by making remarkable cheese.
Here we actually make our own product and label it and then distribute it into stores ourselves.
From field to food, Fiscalini Farms has been an innovator in the industry for 4 generations.
We can trace our roots back to Switzerland to 1705 as dairy farmers and cheesemakers. And we've got a long tradition of making cheese. And it's really nice to be able to see where you've taken the product that starts out as milk and actually follow it to the grocery store with your label on it.
Grabbing a Fiscalini label means sinking your teeth into a cheese that will put you over the moon.
Well, we won a competition in London, England in 2007 that was for the world's best extra mature traditional cheddar. It was the first time that trophy had ever left British soil in the 20-year history of the World Cheese Awards. So it's something we're really proud of. It was very humbling, quite honestly. It was a real experience. Good things happen to those who persist, I guess, but we were just tremendously overjoyed.
And good things continue to happen for Fiscalini Farms, acquiring a wall of awards from the capital to the Queen of Daytime.
We actually managed to make the O-list a year ago at Christmas time, and one of her 50 or 100 favorite products. So that was a very, again, I mean, that's a humbling experience when someone of that magnitude recognizes you and what you do.
Recognized all over the world, but what John's proud of most hits a little closer to home.
The most proud I am is the fact I've got 3 adult children who are all interested in coming back and working here on the dairy.
For nearly 1 century, this dairy farm has been decorated for their dedication, and it's no doubt that the cream will continue to rise to the top. Bringing you the best in California, from Modesto, I'm Monique Saltani. Coming up, find out how Bay Area teachers are using technology to help students shoot for the stars.